Namaskar, welcome to Prakash and Basics. I am Prakash Zog and we are talking of Indian philosophy, that's the Darshans. Today we will look into the initial part of another major Darshan pair, which is the Mimamsa Darshan. Let's look into the background first. A few centuries before Christ and after Christ, that is Anno Domini, Buddhism and anti-Vedic thought gained importance, not only among the thinkers but also among the masses. The rulers as well as the masses were swayed towards them. A reaction to that was bound to happen, and it developed in terms of Vedic revival in that span. We must realize that everything behaves in nature according to a standard pattern, a standard graph. There is a rise, there is a plateau region, and there is a decline or a fall. So too happened with Buddhism. It started because it had very lofty and great ideals put forward by Gautam Buddha, as we had discussed long back. But with time they had their own drawbacks, their own problems. As royal advisors, their political clout increased. The Sangh became wealthy, prosperous, so the quality of entrants deteriorated. It was easy because you just had to follow the Trisharan, as we had discussed long back. Criminals who wanted to escape from punishment joined the Sangh very easily. There was also naturally a lack of commitment among these people, less dedication than the initial disciples of Buddha. The original ideals were compromised to a large extent. There were a couple of other issues too. The nirvana that is talked of was only meant for the bhikkhus and the higher category of people in the Sangh. For the layman, there was no spiritual gain. For him, his job was only to donate to the Sangha and expect blessings from them. It is during this time that this revival process started off. The Hinduism practiced today owes its intellectual foundations to the thinkers of the Mimamsa and its interpreters also. The foremost among them is Adi Shankaracharya. That's quite natural. But there is another lesser known, forgotten person, a great exponent of the Purva Mimamsa, Kumaril Bhutt. It is this Kumaril Bhutt that I am going to talk of today first. Kumaril Bhutt was born around 1650 AD. As far as his birthplace and other details are concerned, there is a lot of uncertainty. Probably he was born in Kamrup, which is in Assam, or in Mithila, or some say that he was from South India. He is said to be a Yajurvedi Brahman. Some of them refer to his parents being Yogeshwar Bhatt and Chandrakana. He learned Vedas to a very large extent and became a great scholar in Vedas. But then when he looked around at the Buddhist monks and Buddhist people around, he was disillusioned to some extent. He started wondering as to why there were so many followers to this system. And then, as per all thinkers, the first objective was to try and understand what Buddhism was. He had extensively studied Vedas, but he wanted to learn about Buddhism also. if he wanted to do some work on Vedic revival. So this typical attitude of trying to understand the opposite party is known as the Purva Paksha in the analytical thought processes. So he took up a guru, probably a guru called Sri Niketan. He studied with him for some time, he studied Buddhism, and then for further advancement of his ideas, he went to Nalanda University to further study Buddhism. Most of the Buddhists then in the university were anti-Vedic, and their derogatory remarks brought him to tears in one of his classes. It is here that his colleagues realized that he wasn't what he looked like. He was identified as a Veda lover among Ved haters. And so, violating the principles of ahimsa that were originally preached, they decided to throw him down from a cliff. They mentioned as to whether his God would protect him. It is said that he mentioned that if God lives, if God exists, I shall live too. And when they threw him down, he survived. But in the process he got hurt and lost one of his eyes. But that was a miracle of having survived. So the people around asked him as to why had he at least lost one eye. He said, I said, if there is God. I did not say there is God. And that small touch of doubt is the one that has taken my one eye off. This miracle was appreciated by quite a few people, and so his followers started growing. He had to leave Nalanda University but began to preach and to revive Vedic Dharma. During his various movements around, he interacted with a king, Sudhanva, and his queen, who was quite keen on the revival of Vedic Dharma. So he carried out Shastrartha, which is debates with many of the Buddhist scholars prevalent then. He is said to have defeated the Bauddha Acharyas, Buddhapalit, Dignag, Dharmadas and many others. He even defeated his Nalanda Acharya, or the head, Dharmakirti, and this caused the king to shift his alliance to Vedic culture. This great work that he carried out peaked during Harshavardhan's time. He had many great disciples. Mandan Mishra was one of them, and Bhavbhuti, the great writer, was also his disciple. His contemporary was one Prabhakar Mishra, who was also a great exponent of what is to be known as the Purva Mimamsa. Prabhakar Mishra was known as a guru, and so his line of thinking is known as Guru Mata. And the initial one that was put forward was known as Bhatta Mat. Bhatta is because it was because of Kumaril Bhutt that this particular track of thought was developed. There was one more, but I will come to that later. Kumaril Bhutt's philosophy is based on the three basic pattern steps: Jnana Mimamsa, Tattva Mimamsa and Karma Mimamsa, which is itself based on the dharma or the ideal way of living according to Vedas. These three concepts I am going to discuss next time when I come to the details of what Mimamsa is. The original work associated with Mimamsa is based on Jaimini's Mimamsa Sutra, and that's pretty difficult. To interpret it, after Jaimini, another sage known as Shabaraswami wrote a commentary which is known as Shabara Bhashya, but that too is not very easy to understand. And so on these, Kumaril Bhutt wrote 3 commentaries. They are not as large as the original text, and so they are referred to as the Vartik. The Shlok Vartik is the most famous one, and then there is the Tantra Vartik on specific topics, and there is another one to give insight into things which is known as the Drushtika. These itself were expounded and explained by many of his disciples, and they all dealt with karma, dharma, yajna, and many of these concepts that we think of today are based on the ideas put forward by Kumaril Bhutt at that time. He talks of Jnana Mimamsa, Tattva Mimamsa and Karma Mimamsa, analysis of the knowledge, analysis of the principles involved, and analysis of karma. And this is all based on the ideas that are present in the Vedas. He accepted 6 pramanas or 6 principles of proof, while his contemporary Prabhakar Mishra did not accept one of them, which is known as the Anupalabdhi, as one of the pramanas. So there is a slight discrepancy in their ideas. In fact, the Vedantins, the Uttar Mimamsa followers, accepted all these 6 pramanas. Kumaril Bhutt himself strongly believed in karma and karma phala, which is the fruits of whatever you have done. And he believed that if not today but tomorrow, you are bound to be answerable to your karmas. He felt that he had sinned by cheating his guru and acquiring Buddhist knowledge, while his intention was basically to gain knowledge to go against them to some extent, which is typically referred to as Guru Droha. So as prayashchitta, a punishment for such a crime, the scriptures had talked of self-immolation in Kushagni, that is the fire in husks of rice and other barn, and that's how he planned to end himself in Prayag. Before his death, it is believed that he met Shankaracharya, who himself was very keen on having a debate with him. But Kumaril Bhutt said that he had promised to give up his life, and that it would be better if Shankaracharya took up the debate with his favorite disciple Mandan Mishra. That story of their interaction is something that we will talk of much later. The works of Kumaril Bhutt deal with a number of topics. He revived the Vedic Dharma along with Shankaracharya and helped in restoring the Sanatan Dharma to its present status that we have in India. His works, the Bhatta Mimamsa, the Shlok Vartik, the Tantra Vartik, the Drushtika, and his disciples' work, they are all a guideline as to how Dharma is to be practiced and followed today. According to Kumaril, explaining Dharma is the prime requirement expected of Purva Mimamsa. Good behavior is the only one that will lead to your development. There is no stability without it, and this good behavior is to be at individual level as well as at the social level. This is what Kumaril Bhutt had preached. How it was modified is something we have to talk of. And it's not just enough to have good thoughts. You need to have good actions, and these good actions are for the good of everybody around you. His ideology was known as Karma Pradhan, that is dominated by karma, and the fruits of the karma were in terms of apurva, a concept that I had referred to some time back. According to him, karma was more important, and its fruits were what decided on everything that came afterwards. So God had no role to play, and so according to the Purva Mimamsa concepts, he did not believe in the great ultimate power of God, though it is said that he believed in Saguna Brahma, and his ideas were again opposite to that of the Buddhists, who believed life to be dukkhamaya or based on sorrow. He believed that you can make life better because sorrow is not the only experience that we have in life. All of us, including you and me, have so many good, beautiful, pleasurable feelings which are sustained for quite some time, and this is what he expounded on. Also, the Uttar Mimamsas, that is the Vedantins, later on had mentioned that the world is mithya, maya, it's not real, unreal. But Kumaril himself believed that the world was true to a large extent. He believed that it did not originate from one Brahma, but was concerned with a lot of other aspects, which I am going to come to next time. There was one more issue. According to him, Shabd, that is the word of the Vedas, was the most important. It is he who interpreted many of the words in their new light, whether it was dharma or whether it was karma or whether it was yajna. He believed that it is this Shabd or the word that gives meaning to our concepts of what gods are also. And so naturally, gods and everything else was inferior to Shabd, which originated and was propounded in the Vedas. So according to him, Vedas were the most powerful, and that is what the Astic concept of the philosophies is concerned with. We need to look into many other aspects that he mentioned also. He said that the Vedas did not originate from an individual, but they were ever present and would continue to exist. He believed that the Vedas were more important than subparts like the Upanishads. He believed that karma and good behavior was the most important thing that an individual must follow. And what about creation? He did not believe in ultimate final end of the creation that is around us, but he believed in the Amsha aspect, or the localized creation and destruction of all things around us. Even today, we talk of localized destruction as well as creations, like great civilizations that we know of, the Sindhu Sanskriti or the Saraswati Sanskriti and the Sumerians and so many others. And he also believed that these could be destroyed because of natural calamities which were limited to that particular region. And surprisingly, that's what has happened to many of the civilizations that we know of, whether it be Incas or whether it be from Egypt or whether it be diversion of Saraswati river destroying the Saraswati civilization and the Indus Valley civilization. So many of these ideas that he put forward then are equally important today. He believed that life was created because of a multiple set of factors, tattvas or padarthas, contributing to the origin of life, and their separation finally resulted into the destruction of everything that was around. According to him, karma was prime, whether the results were today or tomorrow, whether the karma was good or bad, the fruits would bear to come by as and when possible. God had no role in this. He believed in Saguna Brahma as the origin of everything, but everything else was based on karma. We need to understand not only his ideas, so many more of them, but many of the other thinkers who had contributed to the Purva Mimamsa. For that, we'll have to meet next time, because there are many beautiful concepts that we need to talk on. If you have liked whatever I have mentioned, please look up and find out what you can about Kumaril Bhutt. Realize that many times great people become obscure and are forgotten with time. Let us remember the great contributions by Kumaril Bhutt. Namaskar, till we meet again.